Podcast.
Helping thought leaders launch, grow, and scale their businesses by building real human connections using interactive online courses, symposiums, and workshops. This is the Thought Leadership Through Online Education podcast with L. Taylor Banks.
Hello friends, I'm Marvin the Paranoid Android, here on behalf of L. Taylor Banks. Will your business survive 2020? This episode of Thought Leadership Through Online Education is 3 powerful strategies that will actually increase your business resilience. Let's get into it. Worried about your company failing due to COVID-19? Resilience is top of mind for leaders today, and it will prove to be a key dimension for measuring success over the next decade. Here are 3 powerful strategies to build resilience planning into your business to overcome and survive 2020 and beyond. This is the first post in a multi-part series we're calling Rest Easy, a 5-part playbook for recession-proofing your business. In this series, we'll show you how to safeguard your business and reputation against the effects of the coronavirus pandemic and discuss some of the practices, programs, resources, and strategies that are available to small business owners, solopreneurs, and gig economy workers. The title of the series isn't arbitrary though. It's really an acronym for the topics covered in each of the 5 posts in this series. 1. R for resilience, this episode. 2. E for education. 3. S for systems. 4. T for testimonials. 5. And EASY for earnings, accrued strength and yields. Part 1, Business Continuity and Resilience Planning. In this post, we're going to discuss what business resilience means and why it's critical to get management in your organization focusing on business resilience planning before an emergency.
We'll also propose 3 agile strategies for building resilience into your organization now that could help your company survive the next global pandemic. 2020 will certainly go down as one of the hardest years many of us have faced in our lifetimes. For Taylor, 2019 was right up there. He lost his dad, his dog, and a new business within the latter 6 months of the year. Geopolitics, economic downturns, and numerous other factors can have significant effects on your operational capabilities and performance. Consumer spending in the U.S. fell by about 20% during the first 2 months of COVID-19's accelerating spread, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce, while the pandemic also disrupted close to 75% of supply chains, according to the Institute for Supply Chain Management. Even before COVID-19, many businesses were struggling to plan for, respond to, resume speed, and keep pace with technological change. Sarah Bond and Jillian Shapiro of the Harvard Business Review conducted a survey of 835 employees from public, private, and nonprofit firms about what was happening in their lives that required resilience. What did they determine? They didn't point to tragedies or the economy, they pointed to corporate culture and their co-workers. Understanding that, in times like these, the key to moving forward is thinking positive, albeit difficult, and becoming resilient. While I've been working on my own personal resilience, I've also been working hard to ensure that my relationships, my other companies, and my community and environment are prepared for unexpected challenges and adversity. As Diane Cowder reports in How Resilience Works, resilient people possess 3 characteristics: a staunch acceptance of reality, a deep belief, often buttressed by strongly held values, that life is meaningful, and an uncanny ability to improvise. You can bounce back from hardship with just 1 or 2 of these qualities, but you will only be truly resilient with all 3. These 3 characteristics hold true for resilient organizations as well. Resilient people and companies face reality with staunchness, make meaning of hardship instead of crying out in despair, and improvise solutions from thin air. Others do not. So, why is resilience in business important? It means your company survives or even thrives when others are failing. Quoting the great Jimmy Cliff, "So as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share now of what's mine, and then the harder they come, the harder they'll fall, one and all." Part 2, Resilience reduces stress. Resilience is a term often used in psychology to describe the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress. Developing an increased capacity to identify additional sources of stress builds resilience. For people, resilience means you bounce back, rather than falling apart, after a crisis, like relationship troubles, health issues, work conflicts, or financial setbacks. Resilience won't eliminate risk or solve your problems, but it can give you the opportunity and clarity to see past them while better managing your stress levels. Part 3, Resilience Planning recession-proofs your business. Merriam-Webster defines resilience as the ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change.
Search CIO extends this definition, noting that business resilience is the ability an organization has to quickly adapt to disruptions while maintaining continuous business operations and safeguarding people, assets, and overall brand equity. Business resilience planning is also frequently referred to as business continuity planning, and is an assessment of the sustainability of a given organization. In the past, we taught week-long courses to experienced Fortune 100 organizations and their executives on disaster recovery and facility and business continuity planning in the enterprise, with a broader focus on computer, network, and information security. For these organizations, business resilience means implementing digital systems and processes to ensure business continuity, while offering products or services that remain or become desirable in the face of global events, financial instability, or threats to a business's core operations. During the last downturn, McKinsey & Company traced the paths of more than 1,000 publicly traded companies in different industries and with different maturity models, and found that only about 10% of those companies fared materially better than the rest. They found some interesting parallels in how sustainable companies would weather a storm, how they prepared for them, how they acted during tougher phases, and how they came out of them. With most of these organizations relying heavily on data, analytics, and automation, it became clear that digital technologies will prove to be an increasingly critical element of business resilience tomorrow. Still, one core insight prevailed: the companies that survived, those that demonstrated true resilience, moved early, ahead of the downturn. They started preparing early, their numbers dipped less, and they came out on top. When the economy started heading south, what distinguished was earnings, not revenue. By the time the downturn reached its trough in 2009, the earnings, measured as earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, EBITDA, had risen by 10%, while industry peers had lost nearly 15%. A resilient company responds swiftly to tackle crises, recovers from adversity so that it can outperform its competition, and reinvents itself to stay ahead of peers in the future. In the past 4 downturns since 1985, only about 1 in 7 companies increased both its sales growth rate and its profit margins, according to a 2019 BCG study. These companies grew sales by 14% more and improved their margins by 7% more than the 44% of companies in distress that declined on both parameters. A company needs to embed resilience in every aspect of the organization, from its go-to-market approach to its operations to its most critical infrastructure. Vulnerabilities in any area could affect the business's ability to survive and thrive, says BCG. Part 4: The 3 fastest ways to make your business resilient. In their study, McKinsey & Company identified 3 core strategies that help these companies avoid downtime and create this earnings advantage.
1. They created a safety buffer by cleaning up their balance sheets before the dip. 2. Most companies cut costs ahead of the curve. And 3. They focused on growth, even if it meant incurring costs. While informative, these strategies can be a bit tough for smaller organizations to take action on. So, for maximum impact, my goal in this article is to cover 3 strategies that leaders at most companies will find easy to understand, relatively easy to implement, and repeatable across various verticals. It is this combination of factors that makes these strategies effective for creating business resilience. And proven strategies can help reduce the sources of stress that test your resilience in the first place. The 3 strategies that match all of these factors are: 1. Recurring revenues. 2. Productized service offerings. 3. Automated client acquisition. Strategy 1. Recurring revenues beget business resilience. While this first strategy might seem a little on the nose, the reality is that many of you are running pure service businesses that rely on you to repeatedly sell every project to each and every client, each and every time they need your help. I know because I asked. I love riding a roller coaster of clients and revenue, said no business owner, ever. When you switch to a recurring model, you're automating the continuation of a service over a period of time, be it every week, month, or quarter, and with it, increasing your CLV, customer lifetime value. Knowing that, it's easy to understand why automating recurring revenues is one of the most effective ways to create resilience in your business, regardless of your business model, and it's a strategy everyone should consider.
It may not be as simple as just changing your billing frequency though, since customers will need a motivation to move to a recurring payment model. In most cases, you'll have to adjust your pricing, offer quarterly or annual discounts for advanced renewal, and productize your service offerings to make it easier for customers to understand what they're buying and why they should pay in advance. Which brings us to strategy 2: productize your service offerings. Now, if you've never considered productizing your services before, or if you're not even sure how you'd go about doing so, in the next post, I'll show you a productized service that can be created within virtually any business, from brick and mortar shops to service-based B2Bs, that ticks the recurring revenue checkbox. I think of it as a recipe for resilience. Part 5. Stop trading time for money. Whether you're making a living as a freelancer or consultant, or operating a traditional service business, you're trading your hours for dollars. If you have a team, your business likely still depends on project to project revenues to keep the lights on. Even when your consulting business is thriving, you still only have so much time to exchange for money. This makes it very difficult to scale, and is a big reason so many service companies are not resilient. While service businesses are arguably the easiest to start, and can be some of the most profitable, at scale, they're also often the most difficult and expensive to grow. To have the ability to keep growing as you rapidly adapt, you need to 1. Constantly find, educate, and convert new client leads. 2. Carefully qualify those leads to sell them high-ticket offerings. And 3. Always take on new clients even when your skills and time are limited.
However, by productizing your service offerings, you can shorten your sales cycles while automating 80% of the acquisition and qualification processes. But what does it really mean to productize your service offerings? From your customer's perspective, it often means a done-for-you solution, with a strong value proposition at a set price, and with a predefined scope. From a business owner's perspective, a productized service is one that runs systematically, scales geometrically, and continues to produce revenues and grow with or without your constant care and feeding. That is how you build resilience into a service business and thrive as your competitors flail. To be successful in productizing your business, you don't need to offer more services, you just need to offer better ones. Strategy 3. Automate your client acquisition. The final strategy, and the one that increases the effectiveness of both of the prior strategies, is client acquisition automation. In general, there are 3 distinct stages of client acquisition, each of which can generally be improved with automation. 1. Initial lead generation. 2. Thorough lead qualification. 3. Ongoing lead segmentation. By automating each of these 3 stages, you create a funnel whereby hundreds of thousands of potential prospects come into the top of the funnel, and as you strategically qualify, segment and nurture those prospects, hot leads come out the bottom, ready to purchase your recurring, productized services. This is the essence of what the marketing world refers to as a sales funnel, and we'll go into more detail on each of these stages in the 3rd installment. This post is intentionally light on tactics and heavy on strategy, and it's meant to make you think about what you've been doing up to now.
Throughout the remainder of this series, our aim will be to help you create resilience by ensuring your business 1. Exists in a growing market. 2. Focuses on recurring revenues. 3. Doesn't rely on loopholes. 4. Automates numerous human activities. 5. Focuses on high-ticket sales. And 6. Delivers results fast. Whether you know it or not, resilience is the key to longevity, scalability, and ultimately, the success of your business. Does your business have a recurring revenue stream? Are your services already productized? Are you using systems to automate your client acquisition? Do you have a good foundation to create resilience in your business? Thank you very much for spending your time listening to our Thought Leadership Through Online Education podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And watch out for our next episode.